All right, welcome to DBC. Today we are continuing with solution-focused brief therapy, and we are on to chapter 7, which is entitled Speaking French, the Art of Speaking French, Interagency Diplomacy. We're talking about 3 things today. The first one is how to work with other professionals who are either from outside agencies or government agencies. And then we are going to speak a little bit about solution-focused treatment plans, and then sort of the end of counseling and how that can work within a larger context. Great. So the question of this chapter is really how to communicate effectively these ideas that we've been learning and talking about in a problem-focused world. So we have these solution-focused ideas and concepts and philosophies, how to communicate those in a problem-focused world, which is often the case. First answer off the bat is to avoid what other people call the writing reflex, or the impulse to correct problem-focused talk in colleagues or other people that we are working with, and instead to carefully listen to the meaning of what's behind their problem-focused words. What are they after? What's their goal? And the idea here, the metaphor, again, from Insoo Kim Berg, is that you can speak French without becoming French. And I would say that you can speak French without living in France as well, or Montreal or Quebec for that matter. So working with other professionals, the image here is like an arranged marriage, so to speak. And the key, again, is to find the shared goal, which is almost always there. And there's a couple of really cool back and forth examples of dialogues in this chapter about doing solution-focused brief therapy with the referral source or with a government agency, for that matter, which could be one and the same person. So the idea, what are you hoping that the clients will gain by coming to treatment? Just like you could ask the client, how are you hoping your life would be different after this? What do you need to see the client, doing differently that would let you know that she has the necessary relapse prevention skills to do the rest on her own? And again, so this idea, this relapse prevention skill is a very problem-focused terminology, and that's okay to use that, to speak that French for a second with the referral source, so to use their words. If the client were here, what would she tell me that you need to see in order for you to be more confident in her abilities to continue? So again, all these same questions that you would ask the client, you ask an outside colleague. Awesome. And then after that, you scale the referral source on their confidence. So again, 10 is the ideal, totally, completely confident, and 1 or 0 would be the opposite, or a lack of confidence. Where would you put yourself or the client? What things would you be seeing at this point? Let's say, where do they need to be to not continue with therapy? Oh, they need to be an 8 and they're a 4 right now. Awesome. So we're halfway there. That's great. What kind of behaviors would you be seeing from her at that point at which she's an 8 or even a 9 or a 10 on your confidence scale? And there's a good back and forth. And there's a really cool quote at the end, sort of checking your own ego and letting the referral source know that, not that they're in charge, but just you're sort of deferring to them a bit. It sounds just like this. So as we go through treatment, I really appreciate your feedback on to both the client and myself about what you're noticing that she's doing differently. You are much more knowledgeable about her personal life and her struggles and where she's been and where she's going than I am. And you'll probably be the first to notice progress. So this is really this kind of deferring and keeping them in the loop and letting them know that, like, hey, I think that you're smarter off than I am in this one. So the idea there with government agencies as well. So finding a common goal again, and the goal is almost always the same. But they're going to use a different language to get there. And then the way to keep yourself solution focused in dealing with an outside agency or a government agency, again, if they're complaining about the client, let them do that, but don't sort of join in and hop on with them. The way to maintain being solution focused is to remain focused on what additional changes the referral source needs to see instead of unpacking the problems and worrying about all that. So remain focused on what additional behavior changes they need to see. What would they be doing differently? And then scaling the confidence. So confidence then goes from like a vague concept to actually a measurable goal. Okay, so you said you're at a 3 or a 4 on their confidence, and that by the time that they're an 8, they will be able to continue on their own without counseling. And these are a few 2 or 3 things that you'll be seeing at that point to let us know. Great. And then you can move on from there. And you can operationalize, kind of an interesting verb I think they made up, but it's cool though. Operationalize if they're saying statements like, he needs to understand he has a problem. Like, okay, well, what does that mean? How do we do that? So the idea there could be change that to how will you know that he really understands that the problem is not, and is not just telling you what you want to hear. And again, this question of what else? What else would you see? What else? Digging for more details. How did you know that he has taken responsibility, for example? What would you be seeing that person do? Awesome. So there's this idea that a tradition in evaluations, let's say first meetings, in traditional evaluation, the kind of unspoken MO is to uncover evidence that a problem exists and to diagnose that, right? So in a solution-focused evaluation, what we're looking to do instead is to record facts and evidence that is present in the client's life and let them have a voice in their treatment decisions. Because again, whatever they say is going to be more powerful to them than a prescription from an expert. Quick word on solution-focused treatment plans, and then we'll talk about the end as well. Keep it client-driven, the treatment plan, and non-prescriptive, again, using their words. We can break their miracle down into smaller goals that can be more readily communicated to outside referral sources. And that these goals should come from the client's statements about their miracle day. That's why, again, it's so important to be listening so closely and to get as much vivid detail about what differences that they will notice on their miracle day. Quick statement about the end of services. So services are finished when all parties, that would be yourself as the counselor, a referral agency, and the client as well, agree that the client has accomplished the necessary changes, right? So we're all in agreement. The therapist's job is to assist all three parties, or more of the other two parties, to define progress in specific and measurable ways. This is done through the miracle question and clarifying and difference questions. So step one is, again, to clarify with the referral source what they need to see and scale it to have the clients do the rest on their own, let's say. And then step two in the session to incorporate the client's personal experience and expertise about their own lives, about what they need to continue. That's sort of the end of once everybody agrees, like, hey, this is where we're all going, and now we're there, okay, great, this is a great time to end. And we can, of course, incorporate the emergency roadside repair kit that we've talked about before. And then sort of to summarize up this chapter quickly, solution-focused and problem-focused approaches that both result in the same issues being addressed by clients. So the goal, again, is usually the same. The only difference is that the process is different. And I think that the idea here, even though it's not explicitly stated, is that process matters. This is like the idea of the book, like the route we take and where we start, that has an impact in clients changing or not. With solution-focused therapy, there's more focus on the client's own autonomy and their own words about themselves and where they want to end up. And that creates a more collaborative and, in my opinion, a lower friction process. At the same time as working this way with the client, it's important to maintain credibility with other agencies that are going to, a lot of times, just for legal necessity, be in the picture. So to maintain credibility with them and to maintain our ability to work effectively with the clients at the same time. And so that's where this idea of becoming bilingual and that we can speak French, again, without being French or living in France. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.